Okay, we are starting episode 10 of Public Trust Review. I can't believe it's episode 10, Tom, but we are.
No, I know.
All right. And let's go to the first slide. So the first thing we're gonna bring up right here is an article that was in the San Francisco Chronicle, and it's titled 49ers Jed York targets Dolphins Stephen Ross upsetting some NFL owners. And this is Michael Silver. He's a sports columnist. He's not a political columnist. But why don't you read off what's highlighted there, and then make comment on that.
Yeah, so he is saying there's supporting three candidates in the upcoming election, including the person running against Gilmore, a bully named Anthony Becker, who might as well campaign in a 49ers jersey with Jed's lapdog stitched on the back. This columnist is, as Kirk said, is not a political person. He's doing in many ways what the grand jury report did, which is talking about what it looks like to him of what's going on in the city of Santa Clara. And this is not, it doesn't look very good to him and to many others.
And I guess I also want to just mention that it's he's not a candidate. He's not an elected official. He can write whatever, he can say whatever he wants. Like if a candidate said this, that's maybe a little bit
Yes,
over
there would
top,
be an ethical problem, right?
An ethical problem. But it also says, they've contributed $3.1 million in independent expenditures. And as of the 14th, and we're going to get through that in a couple slides, but that's actually low. It's more than this, closer to 3.5 as of a little over a week ago. So it's an incredible number that we're going to be looking at. All right, we're going to focus on two more quotes from that article, and then we're going to move on to follow the money. So this one is around one of the things we talked about. Winning in football is not really the same as winning in politics, and why is that?
Well, winning in football is you spend unlimited amounts of money to crush your competition, right? And to get yourself to the Super Bowl. The ethics on the field there are rules, but the ethics is very different on the field than it is in the real world. And in politics is the real world, despite the game that many people think it is. This is the way that we communicate and get things done as a society. And what this is saying here is that Lisa has become an obsession for Mr. York and for the voting bloc. And every time that her name comes up, there's usually a talking point that follows it that's negative. That's an obsession.
And the highlight here is this CEO of the 49ers is using his position and fortune to try and get what he wants by any means necessary. Scorched earth, whatever, tear people down, whatever it takes to do that. And that's not ethical behavior. It's legal. It's legal, but it's not ethical. And again, from my perspective, if you're holding a public office, if you're being elected, you're being entrusted with the governance and direction of the city to guide everybody and to be trustworthy, ethical, responsible, and transparent on stuff. And Jed doesn't feel that way. Obviously, he doesn't, or the 49ers don't live by those rules because they're not elected officials.
Right, and they're not bound by the Code of Fair Campaign Practices. However, actually, we don't know that because the Independent Expenditure Committees are given the same Code of Fair Campaign Practices, but it's voluntary, and I don't know whether they have signed it. I would think they haven't, since they haven't abided by any of the stipulations, which are honesty, fairness, fair play.
So let's go on to follow the money. And again, this is back to about a week ago, the 14th, October 14th, 2022 is when these numbers were tallied from the city of Santa Clara's link into the public reporting for the city. So Tom, why don't you just walk us through that?
Your video is over the other number, the Gilmore support number.
Gotcha.
So when you look at this, you'll see that the voting bloc candidates and the DeBartolo money.
You know what I'm going to do? That's really important. I'm just going.
Yes.
I'm going to stop this for a second.
Okay.
And I'm gonna fix that so that I forgot that the video. I'm gonna move this chart over and down, so it'll look a little weird on the slide. But we don't really care about that. We care about people being able to see what this says.
Then will we start over again?
No, we're still streaming. I'm just gonna restart. I'm gonna restart the presentation at this slide and then reshare it. So just give me just 1 second. And
yes.
There we go.
So if as a voter or as a resident of the city, you think you're being inundated, it's still blocking half of it, of the number.
My video is? Oh, no, that's not in real time. It's just for you. Everybody else is seeing it's clear. I moved it, so it's definitely clear.
All right, so let's start again on this. So what if you think you're seeing lots and lots of ads, you're being inundated through many different types of media, it's because of the money that's being spent on this election, right? So all of the money from the DeBartolos for and against Mayor Gilmore, against Mayor Gilmore, against candidates McCulloch and Palekia, and for Becker, Shahal, and Hardy. All of that together adds up to almost $3.5 million. The money on the other side, which is from Related and from the Police Officers Association and from a couple of developers, is $257,000. I can't see the other three numbers.
Yeah,
well, so it's 257.
That's the total.
Yeah, and if you want to know, well, and actually, if you look at this and just compare them, right, you can see the incredible difference in the amounts of money, and if you want to know what that looks like in picture form, this is what it looks like. That on the right, you have the money that is going toward supporting Mayor Gilmore and the other candidates, and the amount of money that's going towards supporting candidate Becker and the other two council members, 13 times more.
Yeah, and it's even more than that. It's staggering number.
And it's getting to the point, as that columnist said, if you read the column the whole way through, it's kind of gross, and it is. Now, it's all legal. It's all legal because of the way the Supreme Court voted a while ago. And this money doesn't include the minimal amounts of money that the candidates are spending that they have control over. It doesn't include this. And the other thing with this is most of the materials you've seen, they either overstate, understate. They're not the perfect truth, and they're not presented to you in a way where you can make a judgment about whether the material is something you should trust or not. They're giving you part of a picture,
right? And
we're getting it lots of times.
We're going to go through a couple examples of those right now. We'll start with the just one, and I'll talk to this because I gathered this data. This is off of the Google's transparency site, and this is just focusing on Google ads for this particular one. Is to oppose Gilmore, and it's from the DeBartolo Corporation. Again, I'll quote who it's from: DeBartolo Corporation and affiliated entities, including the 49ers Football Company, LLC. So this is just over the last, I tracked 4 different snapshots, one on the 11th, on the 14th, the 18th, and yesterday on the 20th. And you can see the line is the impressions, how many impressions this video, which is on the left over here, that you can see on the left. This line, I hope you can see it. The video hopefully isn't obscuring it. It's just over 1.2 million impressions, like 1.2 or almost 1.3 million impressions for this one video series alone. You can see all the details. You can get all the details of how these ads were run. And if we go to, and they spent roughly, 14 something thousand on just those online Google, YouTube, or however they presented those videos. I think it's all YouTube videos. And what I did is I went for the 4 major ones that the DeBartolos did and the 49ers did. And the next one was for Becker. And this one, they spent over $20,000, and it reached almost $1.7 million. These series of ads, there's basically 2 videos that were run. I think they're 30-second videos. And they were run a total of impressions of over almost 1.7 million times. And again, just over $20,000. Same for Karen Hardy, Councilmember Karen Hardy, in supporting her efforts. Again, almost 1.4, a little over 1.4 million views, and just over $21,000 spent. And then Councilmember Raj Shahal, almost 1.8 million views on this. If you look at 1.8 million views over here, and just over $18,000 spent. And this is all public, all ad transparency. You can just go look at it yourself. We just took, a fair amount of time to tabulate those in those moments of screen. And it's not completely clear if this is all cumulative or it's, because there, some ads were run certain weeks and certain ads were run other weeks. I ran these reports on these various days, and whatever it presented, that's what I'm presenting on these slides. And you can go verify these on your own. So that's just, again, a small snapshot. These aren't mailers. These aren't TV ads. These are just online Google ads or YouTube ads. So get back to kind of our base slide here for following the money. How is this all, back to, this isn't illegal, right? None of this is illegal. But the problem that you've mentioned before with the fair political, what's the document called?
The Code of Fair Campaign Practices.
Code of Fair Campaign Practices mandates that you challenge or repudiate any ads or comments that are made in public that you know of in deliberately. You say it like, that's not true. This isn't true, or this, this is mistaken. It's close, but actually this is what it should say. And
yes,
and candidates, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say that the other thing, it's not just what people say, but it's also the whole approach, right? And I think that this slide shows the approach that says, I'm going to throw as much money as I possibly can at something until I win. That's not a value that the council should be supporting, right? This becomes tremendously unfair and detrimental to the political system in the city. Who is going to run against this if this continues? Who is going to put their family through this, right, if this continues? The mayor, it seems to me, has withstood a tremendous amount of unfair attacks, and they're constant. Who's going to put themselves through that, right, if they wind up on the other side of the 49ers money? I mean, and if you really want to look at this, think of it as David and Goliath. Goliath is the 3.5 million, and David is down there on the bottom. And I think one thing I said recently to the Chronicle, I want to repeat. The 49ers are trying to continue to buy the city council, and the people of the city of Santa Clara have to decide if they're going to sell it to them.
All right. Well, we'll close episode 10. With that, I think some of our next episodes, we're going to be looking at some of the content again. We did this once before, but it's so prevalent now that I think we're going to revisit that. But please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's how we can see that you're interested in making a difference, or that we're making a difference in your lives, or in your information spectrum. So just let us know. opinions@ethicsforamerica.com is where you can send ideas, input, feedback. We'd love to hear it. And we do want you to spread the word, because we're doing this for the community, and hopefully you see value in that.
And we'll be back on Tuesday.
We'll be back on Tuesday the 25th.
Great.
All right.
Good. Have an ethical day.